We are at Wind River Realty with our Tuesday Live. So we've been doing a really good job of being consistent with Tuesday
we're so
Lives.
proud of ourselves.
I think maybe almost 2 months worth of consistency.
Nice.
It's a big deal. Yeah. How long does it take to make a habit? I think we're there.
3 times, maybe.
3 times.
That's what I was thinking.
So we've created a habit.
Yeah, see,
Yes!
yay for us.
Yes. So today we actually have a really awesome guest speaker. So we have Raymond here from C&C Locks, and we're going to talk a little bit about locks, keys.
The importance of rekeying.
And you know what's funny is even as agents, I mean, I think I've bought houses and not rekeyed.
Me too.
What the heck?
Me
what were
too.
we thinking?
I know, we weren't, obviously. Raymond's going to tell us today why that was not smart of
Why
us.
we made mistakes. Although, you know, I've always kind of, maybe it was a judging thing. You're probably not supposed to do that. But I remember buying a really gross, nasty, trashed out, disgusting house. I rekeyed that one quickly.
Right? That's pretty funny.
I didn't want those people to come back.
Yeah, but it was the opposite. We were like, those people are awesome, and you have like 20 keys. So I'm sure you're probably okay to not rekey because I
You're surprised
guarantee
how
you.
many times it's the really, really nice ones.
Right?
It's the bad ones, you see.
Oh, look at us.
Yeah,
This is why you
because
shouldn't
somebody's
judge a book
clean
by a
doesn't
cover,
mean
right?
they won't come back,
Yep.
right?
Well, it's not just that, they're usually their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They give keys to their kids give keys to their friends.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what we've said, you don't know.
Or your neighbor has a key, or
Somebody
your
checks on the
ex-neighbor.
dog, or somebody
Yeah.
got your mail for you on vacation,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you don't quite know.
Friends, family, loved ones, neighbors.
Yep.
They just give out keys and they don't think about, well, now that we've sold the place, we should really go around and regather those. And even
Do
if
you
they
even
did,
remember who you gave them to?
well,
Right,
that,
yeah.
that and did they make any other copies?
Yeah, you
Right.
don't know.
Right, that's very true. So yes, that's what we want to talk about. So we're going to let you kind of start talking with us about the different things about rekeying as you get a new home. Maybe as you're moving into different houses, even as a renter, maybe there's things to be aware of from a renter perspective, and just any information like that. And then we'll interrupt and ask you a million questions, I'm sure.
Awesome. I don't mind a bit. No, as far as rentals and stuff like that, it's good for someone like, say, for instance, I bought a house that I'm going to fix up and rent out. Then it'd be a good idea for me to have a master key system put in so that my renters have their own keys so that they can come and go as necessary. But let's say I need to check on the property once every month or 6 months or whatever the case may be, or at least have access to being able to get in the home if they leave
They don't
unexpectedly.
pay, or if there's something wrong and you can't get a hold of them.
Yeah, then in that case, they have their key that works and I have a key that works. And if I have multiple properties, I can actually make it so I have one key that opens all of my properties, and each renter has a key that opens their property, but nobody else's.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
really
that's
good.
kind of like what we did on our house. I've got our garage and then our shop and our house. Well, I keyed it up on a master system so that my key will open anything. And then there's a key that we can give out to, you know, like Fred and other people who may need in our garage, but they don't need in the house or the shop.
Smart.
Or if I'm having somebody that's coming to watch the cat and the dog while my wife and I are out of town, they just need to be able to get in the house. They don't need to get in the garage or the shop. So I give them the key that's just for the house.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
That's a great
I
idea.
think everybody should do
Yeah,
that.
I didn't even know
would be
that
so
was an
smart.
option. That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's called a master key system. They're a little involved on my end because of the math that's needed to get the tumblers all right, but it's really a nice system.
But that's why we call you, so we don't have to do the math.
Well,
Yay!
And the nice thing about them too is whenever I set up a master system, let's say you've got your key that opens your properties, and Bob and his wife end up getting evicted or moving or whatever. So we just rekey that house on the same master system so that your key still works everything. None of the other ones have to change. It just makes life simple.
So was there a limit of times? So say I have really bad luck and at one of my rentals I keep having to evict and change locks and change locks. Is there like a maximum times you could do that?
Not
Before
really.
you,
I mean, there is. There's not like an indefinite number. But at the same time, most locks are 5 cuts, and there are locks that are 6 cuts.
So you have quite a
So
bit of
you've got a
options.
combination that's just, yeah, it would be hard pressed to run through every single combination.
Okay. I mean, hopefully nobody has that much bad luck with their renters.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure.
But you just never know.
Yeah, nice to know.
Right. Or maybe your house sitter that you gave the key to at your house
Yeah.
becomes a problem.
And that's the nice thing. See, I can just go and rekey my house. My shop and my garage, they stay the same. My master key stays the same. It's just the house has changed.
That is awesome. Truly,
Yeah,
I could see
that's-
so many uses
I
for
run
that.
into that for a lot of businesses and apartment complexes and things like that. That's what they do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you know, there are a lot of nice new locks out, like the one that I put on here, the Schlage keyless entry.
Oh, it's
Oh, man, we
fabulous.
love it.
Yeah.
It takes 2 different combinations, one that you can have, one that you can give out, so that if something happens, the one that you give out you can change, but you can keep yours.
Awesome.
But those are a little bit more expensive. So doing that on every door of a property or something like that could be
Be a little
pricier. But you can pay less money and have key control for getting a master key job.
I can definitely vouch for the lock here that you put on for us versus the keyless code lock that I have at home that we probably bought, I don't know,
Home Depot or something,
somewhere.
yeah.
It is always having issues, and this one is like, it just behaves perfectly.
Oh yeah,
every
this one's
time.
amazing.
So
It's
I would
so
definitely
nice.
spend the money again, and it wasn't really that expensive to have you
No.
come. I don't remember what we paid, but I remember being like, oh, why didn't we do this?
And they're actually $20 cheaper now.
They went down in
Like I
price.
did, yeah. And well, the nice thing is I learned when I was working for Dan McDonald that whenever you buy a TV at a LG place, you're getting a real LG. But whenever you go to like Walmart and you get an LG, you're getting a Walmart LG. It
Oh,
doesn't have all of
interesting.
the filters, it doesn't have all the connectors, it's not the whole thing. So what you're talking about with the difference with the one that I sold you and the one that you bought at like Home Depot is mine is made for locksmiths to be able to sell the highest quality at a reasonable price. Whereas when you go to Home Depot or a box store in general, Walmart, Home Depot, something like that, you get the cut version that has corners that are cut and it's missing this and that, and it's just
Which is why
little
we
subtle
have
That makes
problems all the
sense.
time, and the battery is always running out, and I can't even. Ugh.
Yeah, that makes total
Yes,
sense. Very
that's,
cool.
That's good information. I don't know if everybody knows that that's kind of how that works.
Most
too.
folks don't know.
I didn't have a clue.
Me neither. The other thing Dawn had told me is, and this is kind of veering off, and it's not even what we said we were going to talk about, but your safe that you have, you should actually have those cleaned because otherwise they
Serviced.
can lock up or, service
Yeah.
them.
Well, you've
What's
got
the story?
on a mechanical lock, you have either 3 sets of wheels or 4, depending on the setup, and they're brass with a brass armature that's called a fence or a gate, and they all have to line up. And the little spring that's, I wish there was something I could show you, not much bigger than this,
Oh my gosh.
is what moves the arm whenever everything's lined up right. Well, after a year, 2 years on the outside, the lubrication, it's a shell lubrication, starts to solidify, so it becomes solid,
Oh.
and it starts to make it so that things don't move quite as smoothly as they're supposed to, and it can actually stop the armature from moving. And then you have to drill, and that's expensive. That's $185 an hour plus a trip charge and parts, and then the repair to the safe and the lock replacement. It's just expensive.
Wow.
When you can pay for a trip charge and $80 to have it serviced, and then you're good for another year. You don't have to worry about that being an issue.
So if you lived right here down the block, it'd be under $100 probably.
80, 90, 100, $115, I think would be with the
About
trip
where
charge.
that would be. And then that would have your safe cleaned and keep you from spending well
Fortune.
over 200.
Oh yeah, because it
or-
usually takes a good drill, take an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, at
Wow.
$185 an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And then you're talking about repairs to the door and replacing the lock and it's just
So we should be
expensive.
getting our safe cleaned.
Yeah, well, not even getting into
We've had it
your
a
safe.
long
I'm
time. Yeah.
guessing when you need in your safe, you need in it. So it's not very convenient to have to call you
Absolutely.
when you could
And
keep
then
up on it and get in.
nowadays too, there's a lot of people who are wanting to switch. Either they bought an electronic safe and they don't like the operation of it. They're used to the mechanical. They want to switch over, but you can't take your safe back to the store after 3 months.
You don't get
I
to
just
do
don't
that?
like the way it works.
Yeah, darn it.
$2,000 you got.
Right.
Well, you can pay a nominal fee to get someone like me to come out and switch it from electronic to mechanical, or vice versa. You
Really?
get one that's mechanical, and we can switch it over to
That's
electronic.
awesome.
I like that because ours is the one where you have to turn the code and I can't ever turn it right.
No.
I always mess it up.
Yeah, I like my electronic one for now, but maybe I'll change my mind and want mechanic.
And that might just be too because the numbers that you have it set to is difficult for you to get
Exactly right.
returns.
Well, I don't know I remember working at the credit union many millenniums ago, and I could never turn the lock there either.
I don't know if I remember a combo now. Like, locker days, I rocked that. Like, you spun it all quick, and that was cool.
That's a no-no.
See?
You know, see, you're breaking
Back-
guys, Katie.
Well,
Back in school days.
I get a lot of work from people spinning their dial
Yep.
because everything in there is brass on brass, and so you can bend the little nose pins. And it makes it so, I was running the combination, now it doesn't work. So I run it 5 degrees this way or 5 degrees this way after I've seen how they've been doing it.
Uh-huh.
And it opens, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I take it apart and show them, you've been bending these because you've been spinning it.
Poor
So it's
schools.
changing.
Can you imagine how many of those they have to change from us spinning locks, being kids thinking it's cool. Yeah. I wouldn't remember, though. I don't remember the ways you turn them now.
Well,
Okay.
you're talking about the locks on the...
Like lockers?
Like a locker combination? Yeah.
Those internally, they're different than a safe.
Oh, they know.
They're very
They're like, all
similar,
these
but-
bratty
Less
kids are going to
complex.
be spinning the
A
heck
lot
out of
less
these.
complex.
Got you. That's cool. So we're talking about maintenance. Also, like our lock that's automatic in the back, or other locks. I gather that there's actually maintenance you should do on those as well. That
There is.
again, I was oblivious.
Well, we live in a fairly arid climate. We've got a lot of dirt that floats around. And when you're talking about a lock, the keys get the tumblers to get to a certain point to where it clears. So it's unlocked, right? Well, those, my wife said not to get too technical.
You don't get over our heads too far,
The
right?
clearance for that area that's called the shear line is anywhere from usually about 100 thousandths of an inch.
Wow.
And your hair is 300 thousandths of an inch.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
So it doesn't take much to get in there and make it so it doesn't want to work right, or so it doesn't work at all. So yeah, you want to take something, an alcohol-based contact cleaner or something, and spray it, wash it out, and then you want to use a lubricant that is not petroleum-based.
And
Not
it's
WD-40.
No, I knew you were gonna say it.
Dang it.
No, you want to get something that's going to be non-petroleum based. Like I use Tri-Flow, and it's for locksmiths, by locksmiths. It is a deep penetrating oil. It is not going to collect dirt. See, the problem with like WD-40 and stuff like that is it acts like a magnet to dirt. So it works real good when you first use it. It really is a good lubricant, like
Yep.
for bicycle chains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then you notice the dirt that builds up on a bicycle chain
Yep.
Yeah.
gets caked. It's the same thing with your lock.
That makes
And
sense.
then that actually makes your problem worse. So
And
this
graphite's
is
terrible. Don't use
don't
graphite.
use graphite.
Everybody, do not use graphite. They say that it is a lubricant. They sell it for a lock lubricant. What it really is finely shaven metal. And keys are naturally lubricating effect because they're brass on brass, and it just does. So you get a little rough spot, and somebody sprays in this stuff to try and lubricate it. Well, it works off the rough spot, but then it has to settle somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I get a phone call because my lock doesn't work, and I come and wash it out, and all this black stuff comes coming out.
Shocker.
Graphite.
Graphite.
Good stuff. Don't use it.
Don't do it. That's really interesting because I think about when we're showing houses, you get to those ones where it's like,
Yes.
oh, I can't get this lock to open, and it's so frustrating. sometimes I'm only having my buyers, will you try? Because I'm so frustrated now that there's no way I'm ever going to get it.
And a lot of times that's because the key is poorly cut. I won't name the actual store, but there are stores that people go to get copies of keys that they just don't really. A locksmith knows how to operate their machinery and make the adjustments so that the cuts are right. And another thing too that people run into is they don't understand the workings of a lock, and they think, well, I put in the key and it just turns, so I must have broken it and I got to throw it away. That's not always the case. I've saved so many people's locks just because it was a $2 tailpiece. So it saved them buying another lock that cost, say, like a Schlage lever, which is $109. We were able to save it for $20. So,
nice.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's always good to call first and see if it's a fixable. Unless probably you're running a super cheap lock and it's probably not worth fixing. I assume.
You just never know.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's good.
I think on that too, it's important that we tell everybody how easy C&C is to get a hold of, and that they are very mobile, and they come to you. So even key cutting and things like that, you guys are awesome.
Well, thank you. We definitely try. I modeled the business after my dad. I'm a second generation locksmith. He's had a mobile service for 40 years in Colorado, and so it just seemed more conducive for where we're at, instead of like somebody else who says to bring your locks in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drive 20 miles to bring my locks into your shop while my house is sitting with nothing on it, wide open.
Yep, especially as rural as we are.
Does
You're
make
right on.
Perfect sense. It's not something I ever would have thought about,
Yeah.
but it does. And I know for us, sometimes we can't get out to go get a key made, so it's handy that you can stop by and just take care of us, and away we go. And so that is super nice. So I think probably you guys, if you do need keys taken care of, definitely call Ray, schedule. He does just literally show up at your door to fix your problems.
Fix your locks. It's like magic.
And also, if you've got questions, feel free to post. Actually, C&C has a Facebook page too, right? They could post on as well. And I'm sure that they can answer questions on their Facebook page or get you to the right resources.
Or if they go to our website, they can also do a direct email deal there and ask questions or whatever. I have customers that do that all the time.
Awesome.
So we really thank you for coming and joining us. And
so full of info.
So good information.
My mind is blown
Not too
over this.
technical.
Crazy. No,
you did
great.
You did great. You did great.
Thanks, everybody. See you
Thanks.
next week.